Hey, thanks for visiting Duckman Cycles VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. We're back today with my 1956 Beetle, also known as Eleanor. And if you haven't already checked out Eleanor, you need to look at some of the older videos to give you a description as to what's going on. But, to make a long story short, she got hit by 6 feet of seawater on a Hurricane Ivan, left there for a couple days, then left outside for 10 years to rot. She broke in half in the middle when I got her. I mean, a complete disaster. I cut the car to pieces, put it back together the best I could, didn't have everything original, tried to make everything look original as best I could, knowing that it wasn't going to be straight, ended up making her into a custom chop top. And she's actually received a lot of traffic and a lot of response, and people just love this car. And she just won a first place trophy last week at the recent Volkswagen car show over here. Second place last year. This year, first place. Next year, we're going to go for a more prestigious category. So let's see what we can do as far as this thing's concerned. If you haven't already seen my new threads, that's right, I am a fan of Adam Booth, or ABomb79, if you haven't visited his channel already. If you saw my daytime Q&A video, you probably already know that, yep, I got this shirt. And I'm very happy to have it, and I'm very pleased to be wearing it. So thank you, Adam, for all the work that you've done for me and all the help that you've given me getting these front wheels mounted with Porsche hubs and Porsche brakes onto my Volkswagen spindles. Really made the biggest difference to me in getting this car to the car show. I mean, I couldn't have done it without you. I really couldn't. And she made a beautiful, beautiful display where I put her up on some wheel stands and I pulled the wheels off and I put a mirror under the car so I can demonstrate the chassis, which, by the way, I got a score of 10 out of 10 on my chassis. They scored it perfect. I mean, there was only a few specks of dirt on it, and some of the bolts and washers and things weren't straight on it, but that was the only thing that was wrong with it. Everything else was just, it was perfect. The chassis was absolutely perfect, and they loved it. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to pluck that little dingle belly down there next to the subscribe button. Join Duckman Cycles' Facebook page. We discussion on our projects, whatever I got, whatever you got, whatever you want to share, whatever you want to ask. You want to be asking a question? Ask it there. I'll try to answer whatever questions I have in my next midday video. Now, as I said before in the midday video, that's my yappy video, and I'm already talking too much for this one because this is our midnight video where I do a lot less talky and a lot more techy. So today we're going to be pulling off these front wheels, and I'm going to be putting on some longer studs. And the goal behind putting the longer studs is, and I'll be putting a wheel spacer on there, which is going to move that wheel out approximately an inch. Because right now I feel that wheel is too far tucked in there. Just way too far tucked in there. So we're going to get this thing spaced out, and we're going to see what it looks like afterwards. Thanks for watching, you guys. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned. More to come after the intro. Boop. Alright, and we're back. We've got my oval over here, and these are the Porsche 928 wheels that I have on here, and these are 5x130 lug pattern. Now, I've got my wheel spacers that we're going to be putting on here. Now, these are appropriately sized hub-centric wheel spacers, and you see that's why it has that flange in the middle, and why it has the inside where another flange can fit into. Showing an example here, this is, it helps if I don't knock the camera over, but demonstrating this here, there's two wheel spacers, and they actually fit into each other. So it makes them hub-centric, and what that means is that that wheel is centered by the center of the hub rather than at the studs. Now, this is not those stupid wheel spacers that have a second set of bolts and lug nuts in them. No, I stay away from those. Those are crap. Those break. You have twice as many lug nuts to worry about, and I don't want to deal with them. One set of lug nuts, this is the way Porsche OEM does it. Put the spacer on here with extra long lugs, put the wheel back on, and tighten the stock lug nuts back down on it, and it should be just like stock, except spaced out. So we're going to go ahead and put these on here, but first we're going to have to remove the existing lug studs and put on these longer ones that I got here. So these are the same ones that I got for the rear, and these are a little bit beat up. It looks like they've been sitting on a shelf for a little while, but they're relatively clean. They don't look used. It just looks like they've been beat up, like they've been laying in a package and thrown around for a while. Yeah, they all kind of look that way. Well, they're not rusting. And even if they were, that's what they're going to do anyway when they're on the car. Guess I shouldn't be complaining too much. Let's go ahead and get this thing taken apart. First thing we're going to want to do, of course, is get the lug nuts loose. I've done that already. I actually took that ratchet you see right there and got these lug nuts loose. Let's go ahead and get the car jacked up high enough that we can get the wheel off. Okay, that ought to be high enough to get it. Now, ordinarily, I would not be using a chrome socket take the lug nuts off. But I can't seem to find my black socket set. But in our case here, because the lug nuts are already loose, this thing won't be putting too much force on these sockets. So it should be enough just to spin those nuts loose. And you've got a power tool just to spin it. Take the wheel off and get it out of the way. You can see all the Porsche bits that are on here and how well this stuff all fit together. Look at all the road grime that's already on it. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's collected a whole bunch of road grime from being in the rain. Alright, well, that wheel spacer, you're probably saying, well, just put the wheel spacer on. You don't need longer studs. Well, yeah, you do. Because look, there's not enough meat on there to get both the wheel on and the lug nut. So obviously we're going to have to bring that out a little more wider and make that work. So, next thing we got to do is remove the brake caliper. There's 2 bolts on the back side of that. I believe they're also both 19 millimeters. That's one of the beautiful things about these Porsche and Volkswagen front ends is almost everything is 19 millimeter and comes off pretty easily. I can't really demonstrate that because I can't get a camera in there. There we go. There's my A-bomb made spacer. And this caliper, you want to set it up somewhere where it's not going to fall down, where it's in a safe space that it's not going to be putting a whole lot of stress on that brake line. And pull off the disc. And here is our hub. And then there is our lugs. Now I hope the tool that I have selected to do this is going to work on this guy. I worked just fine in the rear, but the rear was less meaty. It was mostly steel. This is aluminum, so everything is much thicker. Just because it's a different metal, it has to be thicker to make it as strong. And let's see what I got. Now what I usually use is I use a ball joint puller, and I think I'll probably still use that on here. Using a scissor style ball joint puller here, I had to modify a little bit to bring it to a bit of a point, otherwise it wouldn't fit down the back side of the hub. But you can get that in here just like this. Snug up the nut on the back side of it, put a socket on it, and normally I wouldn't be using a chrome socket, but I just realized why I don't have my impact sockets here. That's because I lent them out to a friend. And you probably know that if you lend a tool to a friend, chances are you're never going to see the tool or the friend again. And if that's the case, well then, good riddance. Alright, take the impact and the socket, run it up the back side here, and then start cranking. To put a stud back in, I put the long stud through the back, just like this, push it through. I put a spacer on here, just like so, and then I put an old lug nut on here. Now you might mess these up, or at least make them look real ugly, so if you're going to be doing this, you're going to want one that you're going to throw away. Okay, come back with your impact, and as I said, I wouldn't normally use chrome sockets on this, but my black sockets are missing because I think I lent them to somebody. I didn't get them back. The fastest way to lose a set of tools and to remove a friend from your life is to loan them a set of tools. You'll never see them or the tools again. Time to snug this guy up, and it's just a matter of tightening this until that stud pulls into place on the back side of the hub. So, here we go. That's it, it's in. Alright, I'm going to hit this one here. And these problem studs that don't want to come out, we're going to have to address those separately later. I'm running out of daylight today, and I need to get the car back in the garage. And I could do that with 2 studs. Alright, we got the next one set here. Let's go ahead and crank this sucker on. I don't know why the other ones aren't going to come out, but I don't have a torch with enough fuel in it right now to heat these guys up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat them up tomorrow in daylight and get these suckers to back out, and then of course put the new ones in place. Removing them seems to be the tricky part. Pulling steel studs out of a steel hub I've never had trouble with, but this aluminum one here, it's just it's holding it pretty tight, and the temperature's kind of low right now. I don't know if that matters. It is Florida cold out. It's about 60 degrees right now, so for some people that live here in the local area, that might be extremely cold and they start breaking out their parkas, but to me it's very comfortable. This is beautiful weather. I'm actually out here wearing shorts right now, short sleeves, See? I'm going to take a pause for the cause, put that wheel back on with the spacer, and let's see what she looks like. We're not going to put the brake caliper back on this time. I've actually got it tucked away up underneath right now. It's just going to be one more thing I'm going to have to take apart later. So I'm going to leave it off. And let's get this mounted on here. There we go. One of my new wheel spacers. Just like that. Come on. There it is. Okay. And lastly, the wheel. I hope this wheel gets centered on there. Yeah, it'll center. It's hub-centric. And I think that did pretty well. Let's go ahead and drop this thing back to the ground and see just what our wheel spacing looks like. Well, I think that's more or less where I wanted it to be. I thought I was going to want to bring it out a little bit more than that, but no, it tucks in there just enough. I mean, I can get my fingers just between the tire and the fender. And in the back here, of course, the wheel cambers away in the back. It feels like I got about 2 finger thicknesses. Now, that wheel in the front is not nearly as cambered, but it sure does fill up that fender properly, looking at it from this angle. No, I think that's where it's going to be. That actually looks pretty damn good. If we grab a straight edge and run across the fender and look at the center of the hub, we got about 1/2 inch in there, so right about 1/2 inch. Up in front, if we do the same thing, we're looking at a little greater than 1/2 inch. Might be looking at closer to 3/4. So yeah, about another 1/4 inch probably would have been the right answer on here. That was something I was thinking, maybe another 5 millimeters-ish. 1/4 inch is probably closer to about 6 millimeters. So my measurements are actually pretty good in my head, but I think we're gonna stop right where we're at. I don't wanna push them out too far, because as I lower it, it's gonna start rubbing on the inside of that fender, because they don't camber like the back wheels do. These are more vertically straight up and down. You know, they don't have quite so much of a lean. But I think I like what we've got. That turned out pretty good. Now I'm going to have to fix those studs. Of course, I'll do that in daylight later. Unfortunately, I got a stuck situation where I'm losing sunlight. I got busy working, you know how it is. You just can't get done doing something sometimes. The other side, of course, I'm going to have to attack it the same way. Wow, looking at how far that's pulled in there. That's actually significant. And we've got mail. Going to be some packages for tomorrow's Talkie Talkie video at noon. So as I was saying, I think that's pretty good right there. Looking down the line of the car here, from the front to the rear, you know, things are looking pretty flush. Hella flush, I guess is what they call it, but I'm not doing any stretched friggin' tires on a rim that's way too big. No. Not doing what the stupid kids today do. Yeah, 1 inch spacer front and rear was enough to get it. The fenders in the front are about 3 inches wider on each side. I probably could have pushed it out about an extra inch or so. In fact, yeah, exactly. That's 1 inch right now from the rim to the edge of the fender. So yeah, if I pushed it out about another inch, we'll be looking at about roughly where stock is. And the 1 inch spacer certainly got the wheels to where I want them to be. The other side, I would venture to say that, yeah, we're looking at right at about 2 inches that it's hitting the wheel. But of course the steering is all off right now, it's all goofy. I thought I did the alignment pretty good, but it looks like it's going to need a little more work. Everything appears to be towed out a little bit. Okay, all in all, I think it's going to kill it for today. I really don't like leaving this in an unfinished state, but unfortunately I don't have everything to finish it right now. Well, giving it a second perspective look from the rear here, it actually makes it look like the front is too close and the rear isn't close enough. And there was some kind of cat hiding around in my equipment over there on the right. That's where the turtle's hanging out right now. He likes to hang out with me when I'm outside. Now, right now, this car is lower than I would ever want to drive it. Way lower. Right now, the headlight bucket is rubbed by the tire. In the rear, I could probably get away with that. There's actually enough travel on it that it may be comfortable to drive. But the exhaust is going to be really close to the ground. But yeah, I probably won't be driving it this low. Although I think it would look pretty damn cool if it gets parked this low. And I really like the way that wheel spacing turned out. I mean, to me, that made all that difference in the world. That extra inch on each side is really going to make all that difference. In the back, of course, I picked up 4.5 inches in the rear. I picked up the extra 3.35 inches, I believe was the total. I don't remember what it was in millimeters. I actually have that written down on a table. But 3.35, I believe, was the figure. Just upgrading to the Porsche arms and then adding that 1-inch wheel spacer on there. That made enough difference to push that wheel out. 4.35 inches, almost 4.5. 4.5 was the goal, and 4.35 is where it wound up at. No argument there. I mean, that worked out real nice. And in the front, we gained about 1 inch because we upgraded to the drop spindles and the Porsche hubs, and that pushed everything out almost 1 inch. An extra inch spacer gave me 2, and that's close enough. That's close enough. We're looking at when I ran the straight edge across there, within 1/4 of an inch from where the backs are at. And honestly, I'm not really seeing too much of a difference as far as gap is concerned anymore. I think it looks pretty damn good. Really good. I'm going to throw some air in the front suspension there and see how much it comes up and what it looks like then. Everything might realign a little bit differently. Probably not a whole lot, maybe a little bit differently. And of course, there's our boxes, which we're going to open up tomorrow. Got some stuff in there. And I believe all of it is for, well, all of it, I believe, is for Eleanor, or at least for me working in the garage. I can't remember what's in the boxes now, but yeah, it's all related to my project somehow. Okay, let's put some air in the shocks. Alright, there she is. Maximum lift up in the front, pushing the air suspension as far as it goes. And the back, of course, I adjust with the adjusters that are underneath the car. But since I can't easily get to them right now, I'm not going to mess with those. But looking at the front wheel, looking down at it this way, it looks like it fills up that fender exactly where I wanted it to be. Yeah, it's exactly where I want it to be. I only want it to tuck just a little bit. And I think this should be pretty good. This thing should drive nicely. I should still have enough suspension in it that it shouldn't eat the fenders up. And ordinarily I wouldn't even drive it this high, but if I needed to go over a little bit of rugged terrain or I had to enter a driveway or something, of course I want to wind it up to stop the body from getting scraped or smashed or crashing into the end of my driveway, for example. It's bad enough that the rear end drags right now with how low it is. So it's definitely going to need to be adjustable just for me to get in and out of my driveway. I think that's it for today. So like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to pluck that little dingle belly down there next to the subscribe button. And if you're happier seeing more tech in these videos and less yappy talky, and seeing the talk instead at noon, which I'm doing, I'm trying to separate the talk from the tech videos, please post that comment. And if you have a question that you'd like to see in one of the yappy talky videos, please go ahead and post it down below in the comments section. You know, ask that question or make that comment, and I'll try to address it in the next video. So again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.